Hey, it's the Brian and Kindra Show, and we're going to talk today about things that are uncomfortable. I don't know about uncomfortable. People just don't like talking about it.
It is uncomfortable. People don't like talking about their money because it is uncomfortable. They feel, I think sometimes we feel like we might be a little judged. I think sometimes we know that that's a little bit out of hand and we don't want everybody to know how out of hand it is. And I think sometimes there's also we've been trained that some of us have been trained that talking about money is taboo. Like, no, that's private. That's personal. You don't talk about that with someone else. Like, going to the bathroom or something. I don't know. There's very few things, frankly, that I don't just share with my girlfriend group. So I'm not sure what to compare it against. But
I was listening to a big speaker the other day, and he says, "You know what fixes your budget? More money."
Oh God!
But
that's not true.
That's because most people spend what they make.
Yes. Or more than what they make.
Most people spend more
which
than
is what the real thing is. And I think that we see that even with people who make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like Woodward. I'm not like, I do not have a person in my mind, but I know that we've seen things in our business that have surprised us a little bit maybe.
Yes.
And so, and just in case you're like, are they talking about me? No. I cannot think of a single thing right now. I just know what I know. That's how the morning is today.
I remember an oil field company guy I was working for selling a house. Man, I wish I could. It was a long, long time ago.
You wouldn't really say his name right now.
I wouldn't say his name, but just it bugs me. Like we had that conversation yesterday about remembering people's names anyway. But nonetheless, I remember I was young and dumb. I'm just old and dumb now. But when I was young and dumb...
I didn't mean to shake my head at that. That was just me acknowledging I'm listening to you.
I remember thinking, this guy's got all these stuff and all the stuff and all the stuff. And then I went to sell his house, and they had refinanced and had to bring money to the table because they borrowed more than their house was worth to pay bills, I guess. It was crazy.
I think one of the things that... this is what I remember. Whenever I was very, very young and someone that I was relatively close with had started to work at a bank and they talked way too much. But back then, I'm not even sure that we even knew about confidence. I think we were so young and dumb also that I don't think that we understood.
Yeah.
I don't think that person understood. And they had said, man, so-and-so, we always thought they were so rich, but they've been through this many bankruptcies and have this much money and da-da-da. And I remember thinking then, I'm not sure you should tell me all that. But that's whenever it kind of occurred to me that everything is not really as it seems.
Nope.
So
it comes
here
back
we
to...
are. Why are we saying all these horrible things?
Well, because I think it comes back to...
This is depressing.
Well, no, I think it comes back to, I think it's okay to get help on your budget. I think it's okay. Some people are money people. Some people are not. I know a money guy, and I'll introduce you anytime. Right. Let me know. I'll tell you his name. But I'm telling you.
Is he me? I mean, is that what you're saying?
But I see people that just cannot get it together.
Did you get distracted just then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think money-wise, make sure you have somebody you can talk to. Whether there's pastor people, there's people at the church that do money. I do not mind. I dream numbers. I sleep numbers.
Before we get into the thick of it, you've had a customer a long time ago in the past that sat down with you and then a local attorney. Mm-hmm. And I think because the connection at our church, actually. But so the three of you sat down and you went through the budget and you handled a whole bunch of stuff. Now I'm distracted too. Doggone it.
That was the craziest
That
story.
was the coolest thing, right? Because you all told her, okay, listen, you get fuel on this day with this much money.
Yeah, you have $7.48.
Which means you don't leave town, you go straight to work and you go straight home.
Yes.
Which really does help you not spend money, let's be real. And it was really kind of cool because it was also and then you worked up to, okay, you have enough money this week that if you want, you can go get coffee at Hutch's and get cream in it too if you want. This is a real deal.
Yeah.
And we're able to help her to work out of a really financial disaster, right?
Yeah, it was bankruptcy style stuff. I mean, it was
right.
If any of this messed up in the next 90 days, if we missed, any of these numbers in 90 days or anything tragic hit, a flat tire in 90 days,
Right.
it derails the whole thing. And probably then people start filing. Like we negotiated with the payday loan companies. We negotiated with courts. We negotiated with all of these people to say, we printed our plan out, said, here's the plan. Here's when you get paid. And they all signed off on it. But if you would have missed any of those payments, then it's a court case, court fees, attorney fees, and it's snowballed, and then it would be nearly impossible to recalibrate.
Okay, so our purpose here, I know you're like, this is a real estate show. Why are you doing this? But I think that this is the most integral part and helpful part of buying a home, but then being able to stay in your home. So Here we are. Okay, so we're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about how to tell your money where to go so that it does its best job for you, because you are the one that owns it. It does not own you, right? That's like the big picture. Okay, so where do we start?
Okay.
I'm pretending to be excited.
Yes. First, write down all of your income and all of your expenses.
Okay, so you mean literally like go through like a little spreadsheet or whatever and go through my last 30 days at the bank and be like, okay,
90.
I went to... Oh my goodness.
Because you want to find consistency.
I know, and you know who doesn't use cash ever? Me.
Which is good. So you can track it.
I know. It's real trackable, but you know how many places?
Yeah. $1.16, $1.42, 98 cents, 47 cents.
You know what I use cash on? My daily cup of ice. Do I have to write that down?
Yes.
Do I need to write down 54 cents every day for a cup of ice at Hutch's?
If you want to be right.
Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to write down everything. I'm going to write down every time that I'm going to write down my fees at the library. I'm going to write down my fuel. Thank the Lord for that Libby app. It saved me so much money in library fees. Okay, so all these different things, we're going to write all those down for 90 days. Then what am I going to do with it?
So so once you get that kind of put together and you kind of see where your deficit is or your extra is, then we're going to make a plan. So then you need to set your goal. So it's kind of a two-piece deal there that could be the same. Like, which one comes first? Do I set the goal or do I go through my budget? Well, I think they're kind of the same. You go ahead and you got to do the budget piece, and you got to do all of the expense and income piece, no matter what. Get it out of the way.
But I like earlier when we were talking about this before we started, you had actually said, set your goal, then do the tracking. I agree, do tracking first. I think tracking is imperative. I think actually set the goal is number 2 because it really helps me to know what is even my goal. Like, my goal is different than it used to be. My goal used to be pay my bills. Now my goal is like, I want a real vacation. Like, I loved to go camping, and I was happy with that. Now I want to go camping and, now I want to go glamping and I want to go somewhere I've never been. And so I think I think it's important. I think that goal is number 2, because if you know what you want and you have that in mind and you've got that thing to strive for, I think it's so much easier to live by the budget.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
So
I'm seeing that in my home, and it's so stinking fun and cool.
Yep. So you get your all your expenses and income down, find out where your income or deficit. Obviously, if your goal when you get it done may be like, okay, I just need to get this to where I have a positive instead of a negative.
Right.
That may be the goal. Or the goal may be like, hey, it looks like we have extra every month. What are we going to do with the extra?
Well, I think your goal can be that as first. Here's what I want to not happen is to be stuck with that part, though. Like, I think that's the idea. The goal is you set that goal. For now, I just want to break even. But then, so that's my first goal. My second goal, it's just like you've told us to do in our stinking that coaching thing you like so much. Because he's like, what's your goals? What's your yearly goal? What's your 5-year goal? What's your 10-year goal? What's your whatever? I don't even know if I can think past 10 years because I'm not even sure I can think 5 years.
Yeah.
So if I look at those goals, so if I look at that the same with my budget, with right now I need to break even, but then my next goal after that is to start saving for a trip. And my other goal is to save for a new car because I don't want a car payment ever again. Right?
Right.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
I think that's what your goals are supposed to look like.
Goals, yeah. And I think you
not
have
identical, but something.
Right. You have your goal today. I think that's true. So like I had big goals. Like I wanted my kids to be able to dream big, and then I would figure out how to pay for it. And so Ashley wanted to go to school in Wichita, and so we did it. And then Hallie wants to fly an airplane, so we're Still trying to figure that out. And then who knows what Cecily's going to do, but I better start saving now. I think to just get incrementally more expensive.
I kind of like, watch this.
Yeah. And so, and so all that budgeting. And so, and we want to go on trips. Like we did we go on a trip this year?
You went down somewhere, Port Aransas.
So we did a very light trip because we didn't have it in our budget this year to go do the big trip. But we are working on the big trip next year. We haven't figured out where we're going, but I hope it's not
Do you want me to tell you where to go?
I'm thinking it starts with Europe. And then...
Well, that's what you talked about, and it sounded like such a cool trip.
Yeah, so that's...
Okay, anyway.
So that's a lot of money. So we got to save up like...
For you, not for me.
20,000.
Okay, anyway.
20,000.
Yeah, get on it. We're going to have to sell some houses.
Okay. So budget. So start working on that. Get that thing... and then the other thing is important is the cash emergency fund. Like,
okay, so
some people,
it's hard.
I trained people different on their personalities. Mm-hmm. So one guy, I said, listen, he was like, I need 6 months in my reserves in my cash account. I'm like, yeah, but you have a credit card. So he's different.
Right.
Because if he would just take his emergency fund and pay off his credit card, he still has his credit card for emergencies. Mm-hmm. So you still have access to that. Why are you paying 30% interest on money you have in the bank? Some people can't think that way.
Right.
And they're like, I'm just going to make this minimum payment. I have to have this security over here. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So again, so just remember all this is a personality based. There's not a one size fits all budget.
And the flip side of that is not running that credit card up again and only using it for the emergency, get it paid off.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because then you can immediately, and that scenario, it scares me that you said that.
Well, because it is
I'm about to throw up now, right?
Well, right. So if I have $1,000 in my emergency fund and I have $1,000 credit card.
Nathan.
Yeah. I have $1,000 credit card balance. It would be better to just go ahead and pay the credit card balance off. Don't use it. Start rebuilding your emergency fund.
Okay, that's why I needed you to say thank you. Because that was not a license to go back to the credit card and use it. It was a license to, once you get it paid off, then you have that much money, whatever your payment was, that's now free in your budget that you can start building back on that emergency fund. So then you have a true emergency fund and you don't have the debt of the credit card.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
And there are other ways other than using credit cards. I mean,
that's really the least
have a garage sale. Sell your toys. I mean, there's most people who have normal jobs have 401ks. Mm-hmm. I don't know what those are, but some people have those. You can borrow against this for emergencies. So there are other avenues other than using a credit card. And so let's make sure we're weighing those out. And
I hear people immediately go, yeah, but if I borrow against my 401k, then I have a penalty, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but not like your credit card. No. And you're paying yourself back. And you have to pay yourself back interest, I'm understanding. Mm-hmm. So why not give me my own interest instead of give my interest to... Is that right? Is that how that works?
Yep.
I mean, it sounds amazing.
Well, I mean, I'm
not sure.
You have a fee. No, so
personally,
you're not giving you the interest.
I'm not normal.
Yeah. You're borrowing your money back, but I don't think you're getting the interest.
Oh, they're getting interest. Okay, anyway, moving on.
But nonetheless.
Like I said, I'm not exactly sure on how that works.
Right. So, and that's another thing. Investment, when you get into retirement, we're going to get into that. Like you need to start putting back for your retirements, but we're not quite there yet.
I know.
So this 50-30-20 rule, you want to make, if you need to live on 50% of your income.
Yes.
And that sounds like a lot. That's like, wow, I make...
It sounds nearly
impossible. $5,000 a month. I can only spend $2,500. Well, my dang house payment, car payment is $2,500 a month. How do I do this?
Right.
And so, so there are tips on that as well. Like, but that's where you need to get. You may need to get. What's the Dave Ramsey? Dave Ramsey, get a side hustle, make a little extra money on the side to get through this position. So again,
that was 50% needs, 30% for wants. Like what? What's that mean?
Like, I want a new car, I want a vacation.
Like, I want to get my nails done.
Yes, that's in that 30%.
Okay. And 20% for savings. And it says debt repayment. That's above and beyond what's already in your budget. Like, you're already working on debt repayment, part of your budget.
Right.
But this 20% should be, like, extra.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And then, ultimately, you want it to just be 20% straight to your savings.
Right.
Okay.
So, a lot of that is, yep.
Okay. What else?
The big thing is giving. It's not in there, but I'm just telling you. Like,
I agree.
Giving is a I don't know. It's a.
So giving is the first thing that I do. It comes out before any bills get paid. Like it's literally, I have it, what's that word? Where it's automatically withdrawn from my account. Thank you. So it's auto-drafted from my account, so I can't not do it. And so, I mean, it's obviously, it's part of my 50 because it's a requirement to me. It's very, very important.
Yeah. And there's something that happens when you give to your, I don't know. So I even heard a guy speaking last week about giving, and I'm not sure he's a Christian. They believe differently than what if 10% is a tithe, and they think you should give that to your church, and then offerings on and above that. But this guy's like, hey, you should give 10% away, no matter what. It's something in your body and your spirit that you get blessed by doing it. So I think that should budget in. Now, if you can't eat, well, again, everybody's personalities are different, and every situation is different. So we can squeeze that piece in and talk about it later. But I just wanted to throw that in there that don't forget that there are people worse off than you. Always. Okay. Vehicle. So here's the other thing. Like, I see lots of really nice vehicles. I hope that I never have another car payment. I will do everything I can to drive the wheels off of my truck until I have the cash in the bank to buy the next pickup. And so I tell my kids now, hey, listen, cars cost $300 to $400 a month. Yours is paid for. Go ahead and start saving $300 to $400 a month.
Right.
Because you're going to need another one, or you're going to have to fix this one. So brakes, tires, all that junk I just put in my truck was $2,000, $2,500 a couple weeks ago. Like, it's expensive to own a car. You either keep this car up or you have to go buy a new one. And no matter what, it's $300 to $400 a month. It's really the cheapest you get away. So
I was going to say, and that's almost unrealistic anymore. I mean, the car that we found the cheapest, and it was new for a reason with Ethan, because I know that he's going to drive the wheels off of it. Like, he will not, it will be years before my son gets another car, Lord willing. Even the cheapest car that I could get for him new is still a few $100s. And most of us aren't willing to drive that car. It's not super comfortable. It's not super cute. Ironically, it looks pretty doggone good whenever I see it in the parking lot where he works. But when I drove up onto the lot, it was not the car I was looking at. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's really important to understand, is that really is a minimum. This is the part I suck at. I'm sure you know that. I really, really stink at saving for the next car. I also know how stinking important it is. And like I talk about that frequently with my son, because he's the only one that listens to me on budgeting.
Right. Well, and so again, it goes back to every personality's different. And so let's say you have some old debt, some house debt, and you were of a mindset like, I can always get a loan against the equity in my house.
Right.
So why am I saving money in an account that draws no interest when I can pay off my house or this other debt? So some people that have equity in their house or equity in something else, you are saving for that car, but you're doing it by paying down your house debt.
Right.
Does that make sense? So if I need a car today, I can call my bank like, hey, I need a home equity line of credit for $25,000. I'm going to go buy a truck.
Right.
And then it's there, but it's because I've been paying down my debt.
Sure.
So saving looks different for different people.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. All right. Shopping. This is a big one to me. My wife does not send me to Walmart. Food. So here's the big deal. Well, what else do we shop for?
What am I asking?
Yeah.
Man, I'm a moron, aren't I?
I don't know what else to shop for.
I'm like, do you mean Amazon? Do you mean on Main Street? Do you mean?
What's your bacon budget?
Yes. What's my bacon budget? Well, see, Blue and Gold just happened.
Hallelujah.
I didn't realize my wife and I ordered bacon at the same time. So
see, you guys got to communicate better. Me and Jack had a whole conversation in the pool about who we're buying Blue and Gold from and how many each.
Yes. So yeah, we've I don't know. There's like a whole half freezer full of bacon. It's gonna be nice.
Do you still not lock your garage? No, just kidding. All right, moving on. Okay, so shopping
the freezer's
budget.
Locked. No.
I don't worry about the cars, but don't get my bacon.
Yep.
Okay, so as far as shopping, so you mean grocery shopping?
Yes, I say that because again, I'm also
is killing me right now.
It is. I'm also I'm a spontaneous spender.
No,
Really.
Are you? How many things did Brian buy last week? Whenever he went to his little conference in Dallas,
I don't know.
We have at least 2 new programs, if not 3, right?
We had to have the cornhole boards because the ones at the Airbnb were broken.
I didn't even think about the cornhole boards.
So it was only 16 miles out of the way to go to the nearest place to get them at 9 o'clock at night.
This is why usually we send Nathan with Brian, so he can be like, no.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Cornhole boards.
That's the problem. Okay.
Yeah. You also want to play this game, and then we got to have cornhole board shoes, and then we need jerseys. And no, I'm just kidding. So nonetheless, I'm not the guy, except that my wife says when I say shut down, I go I'm a one or the other.
Then you're the opposite, right?
I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey, if ice costs extra, we don't need any, and we're going to turn the water heater down and the air conditioner. I'm going to wash the filters and vacuum them out and reuse them. And I've been the other way.
And I see that in you.
Yes.
I totally see that in you.
So it's full brakes or full gas.
And that's another thing where so Jack and I had this conversation too. I made sure I had the right K-Cups for his mother whenever she came to visit. Mm-hmm. So I did not buy my K-Cups.
Right.
I bought me coffee so I could do the little filtered thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like literally this is how it's been for, 10 months. So we do it differently.
Yeah.
Like we all do it differently. Mm-hmm. And he goes, there's no reason you can't buy your own K-Cups. I know, but I felt like since I'd spent it here, I couldn't. Mm-hmm. So we all do it a little bit on our own extremes.
So the Sharon guy was talking, he owns Real, or is the president of Real. He's like, I still, in my brain, when I go out and eat, I will drink water.
Right.
I can afford the restaurant.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was Craig Rochelle was saying this.
Yeah.
And he said, I can afford to buy the restaurant, but I still do water because in my brain, $3 for Coke is a waste of money because I can buy an entire 2-liter bottle for that.
Yeah.
And so that's a luxury. And so, again, it goes back to
some of that comes from where we've been.
Yes.
Like where we've been.
Yeah. So I got made fun of yesterday for that 2 days ago and ordered a $60 plate of seafood and I ordered water and he's like, water? And I was like, he said, I thought you hate water. And
if you get enough lemon in it.
Fine, I'll have a tea.
All right. So shopping though, what's the real deal with shopping?
Okay.
Because here's the thing, grocery, just in case your wife's been doing the shopping, it has gotten so stinking expensive to grocery shop lately.
Yes.
So where I used to spend just like a little bit, all of a sudden I think I've doubled it and I don't think I'm doing anything crazy. Like I legit don't think I'm doing anything crazy.
I think some things at the store are going up and some things are still hovering. So I haven't been to the grocery store in a long time. The whole on-app shopping thing and use Zip and pick it up.
Big time.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how much money that saves us because I don't go to the store. And so Cecily's like, I need snacks for school. And it was like 8:30 at night. And Carrie Ann's like, I don't really know what to do. I said, hey, let's just run to Walmart. This will be great. It was like $400. And my wife, I get home and she's like, what did you do? I'm like, these all sounded good. We bought.
Is that $400 in food only?
We might have bought some other things.
Please tell me you at least bought her a game or something.
No, no games.
Oh my gosh. It's like a ticket item there. There's got to be a bigger ticket item.
I mean, I didn't even get a speeding ticket on the way home, and it was still $400. So, no, it was. I did add 2 gifts I bought for somebody.
There you go.
It was about $140, but still, we spent over $100 on snacks. Now, I think the snack aisle, everything I looked at, I was like, oh, that little deal of beef jerky sticks is $19. That'll last us 3 days. That bag of cheese, oh, what? So it's like all the snacky things. I think we'll have time. Nathan.
Oh, yes, we got time.
So,
Sorry.
So yeah, I think the snacky stuff is really expensive. Chips, potato chips, the Little Debbie stuff, all that. I mean, a little pack of donuts that used to be 59 cents is $2.
Right. But that's still cheaper than eating out, which I think is kind of the trick there. So whenever I'm at the Walmart thing and I'm trying to figure out, okay, is it better to do this? Like some of the stuff is easy to just not buy. Like we just don't buy Little Debbie's. We just don't buy snack cakes of any kind. And And I'm careful, like even there's a bread I prefer. Like I would prefer to buy somebody's homemade bread. I know that we do not do a great job of eating it, so I buy just my full wheat bread, and then if I have to throw away my $3 wheat bread, I don't feel as bad as whenever I have to throw away, which just sounds terrible. Y'all, please do not crucify me because I throw away bread. I'm not great at eating a sandwich. Everybody knows this. Some people call it peasant food. It's not even that. It just hurts my stomach. Yeah. But okay, there's things that you can do. Like whenever we've talked about this a lot. Whenever it was really, really rough in my home, and I was making everybody sandwiches every morning, and I would put their little chips in their baggies, and so I made it as cheap as I could for us to live, and even to the point one day, and this was an accident, but it still cracks me up. I have my little assembly line. I sent everybody to school with an open face sandwich with their bread and their ham and their cheese.
That's funny.
And Ethan's like, I didn't have 2 slices of bread. I'm like, well, I bet you folded over. You were fine. Because I'm all like, quit picking on me. I don't have any. I had no minutes in my day. My daughter's like, strange, me too. My ex-husband comes home and he goes, are we tight on bread?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't
it's
know.
Funny because
cracks me up to
my
this
wife
day.
used to just pull half the bread out and freeze half the loaf.
So I'm willing to try it.
It's crazy.
Because I feel terrible that.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, moving on. I think there's ways that we can do our shopping more efficiently financially so that we can have a little bit extra.
Yeah.
But it's hard, guys. It's hard. It's hard. Do not go without milk.
Yes.
But maybe buy generic.
Yeah. It's one of those deals. I think money-wise, spending money at the grocery store is it's something that's like it's only $3. This is only $5. This is only $3. You do that 10 times, it's $30. Like it adds up real quick. And that's why my wife doesn't send me like, ooh, those sound good.
Yeah, no.
You know, and sometimes it's like pickles. I want to try one of each. And so that gets us.
Okay, real quick,
trouble.
use cash over debit or credit.
Anytime you can use, if you are the type of people that you're a spontaneous spender like I am, you need to not take your credit cards with you.
Right.
Take just the amount of cash you can afford to spend and go. So,
I mean, I'm not spontaneous with spending. Can I take your credit card with me?
You have one.
All right. I really think things out.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay. I think that's really huge because I run my debit card and don't realize how much I've spent.
Yes.
And then next thing I know, I'm like, holy heck, where did it go? Well, it went because I picked up a Coke and that's not true. I picked up a water and a popcorn 3 times this week, and it adds up. Yep. So cash is super important. Yep. Okay. 2 things. 1, review and adjust regularly.
That's a big deal.
And 2, avoid lifestyle inflation. I think this is the big thing. The more we make, the more we spend. Quit.
Yep.
The more we make, the more we save. Yes. Like that's if we can live on this.
Yep.
Then start saving this, and then we can tell that where to go later and have some fun.
Right.
That's the important
thing.
We
do really hard to live on my wife's teacher income.
Which is brilliant.
Obviously, we go over that because we have kids, and we're a little frivolous sometimes. But we do really hard on our monthly stuff to stay under that. Right. The other thing is accountability. Accountability. Get somebody that will hold you accountable, which sucks, but it's good for you. So do that. This is Brian Kindra Show talking about budgeting today. So give us a call, 580-334-2303.
And I'm Kindra Brown, 580-216-0090.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.